My fingers trembled as I scrolled through the messages, each word unraveling the fabric of my reality. Emojis danced mockingly across the screen, punctuating the exchanges between my wife and her colleague Mason. My heart raced in my chest, the sound of blood pounding in my ears drowning out all other noise. What the hell? I muttered under my breath, my voice barely a whisper in a silent room. I read the messages again, disbelief mingling with a rising tide of anger. The words were unmistakable, painting a picture of betrayal that cut me to the core. How could she do this to me? The thought echoed in my mind, a refrain of disbelief and hurt. Are you okay, honey? My wife's voice shattered the silence, her sleepy eyes blinking in confusion as she sat up in bed beside me. I recoiled as if struck, the weight of her innocence crushing me like a vise. How could she ask such a question when her betrayal lay bare before me? I'm fine, I stammered, my voice hollow and distant. But I was anything but fine. I was drowning in a sea of betrayal, struggling to make sense of the storm raging within me. How could I confront her with the evidence I held in my hands? How could I look into her eyes and see anything but deception staring back at me? With a heavy heart, I rose from the bed, the foam slipping from my numb fingers and clattering to the floor. I couldn't bear to face her in that moment, couldn't bear to confront the reality of her infidelity. But as I turned to leave the room, her voice called out to me, a note of concern laced with confusion. Is something wrong, honey? You're acting strange. I paused in the doorway, my heart aching at the sound of her voice. How could she not see the turmoil raging within me? How could she not sense the fracture in our marriage, the fissure that threatened to tear us apart? But I said nothing, unable to find the words to articulate the pain that consumed me. With a heavy sigh, I left the room, the weight of her innocence heavy on my shoulders as I descended into the darkness below. In the days that followed the discovery, I found myself descending into a darkness I had never known. Every corner of our home seemed to echo with the ghostly whispers of betrayal, haunting me like a specter I could not escape. The routine of daily life became a hollow ritual, each action a reminder of the shattered illusion of our marriage. Morning, Dad. My daughter's cheerful voice pierced the silence of the breakfast table, her smile bright and innocent as she poured herself a bowl of cereal. I forced a smile in return, the weight of my emotions threatening to crush me beneath their burden. How could I look into her eyes and see anything but the pain of betrayal staring back at me? Morning, sweetheart, I replied, my voice strained with the effort of maintaining composure. But my daughter seemed oblivious to the turmoil raging within me, chattering away about school and friends, as if nothing had changed. How could she not see the fracture in our family, the chasm that threatened to swallow us whole? As I sat in silence, the sound of their voices washing over me like a tidal wave. I felt the walls closing in around me. Each word spoken between my wife and daughter felt like a knife to the heart, a reminder of the betrayal that lurked beneath the surface. Are you okay, honey? My wife's voice broke through the haze of my thoughts, concern etched in the furrow of her brow, as she reached out to touch my hand. I recoiled at her touch, the sting of her betrayal, burning like a brand against my skin. How could she dare to ask such a question when her deception lay exposed before me? I'm fine, I replied curtly, pulling away from her touch with a force that surprised even me. But she persisted, her concern evident in the crease of her brow, as she searched my eyes for answers I could not provide. How could she not see the pain written on my face, the agony of betrayal etched into every line and contour? With a heavy heart, I rose from the table, the weight of their innocence heavy on my shoulders as I retreated into the darkness of my own thoughts. How could I navigate the depths of this despair, when even the ones I loved most could not see the storm raging within me? The decision to leave came like a bolt from the blue, a sudden realization that I could no longer bear the suffocating weight of betrayal that hung heavy in the air. With a sense of urgency burning within me, I packed my belongings hastily, the sound of clothes rustling and objects clinking together, filling the silence of our home. What are you doing? My wife's voice cut through the stillness, her eyes widening in confusion as she watched me move about the room with purposeful intent. I paused, the weight of her gaze heavy upon me, as I struggled to find the words to articulate the turmoil raging within me. How could I explain the need to escape, the desperate desire to flee from the pain that consumed me? I need some time alone, I replied finally, my voice strained with the effort of maintaining composure. But she seemed taken aback by my words, her brow furrowing in confusion, as she searched my face for answers I could not provide. How could she not see the desperation written on my face, the longing for liberation etched into every line and contour? You can't just leave, she protested, her voice rising in panic as she reached out to grasp my arm in a futile attempt to stop me. But I pulled away, the sting of her touch burning like a brand against my skin. How could she dare to hold me back when her betrayal lay exposed before me? I have to go, I replied firmly, my resolve hardening with each passing moment. With a heavy heart, I turned away from her pleading gaze, the weight of her innocence heavy on my shoulders as I made my way to the door. How could I explain the need to escape, the desperate desire to flee from the pain that consumed me? But as I stepped out into the cool night air, a sense of liberation washed over me like a wave, carrying me away from the suffocating confines of my shattered marriage. As I settled into life on the road in my RV, I found solace in the simplicity of my surroundings. Freed from the trappings of material possessions and societal expectations, I embraced the minimalist lifestyle with a newfound sense of purpose. Each day became a lesson in self-reliance and resilience, as I learned to navigate the challenges of life on the open road. Isn't this amazing, Dad? My daughter's voice was filled with wonder as she gazed out the window at the sprawling landscape stretching out before us. I smiled, the weight of my worries momentarily forgotten as I watched the wonder dance in her eyes. How could I not feel grateful for moments like these, when the beauty of the world seemed to stretch out before us like an endless horizon? It sure is, sweetheart, I replied, my voice filled with warmth and affection. But even as I reveled in the simplicity of our new life, the echoes of my past still haunted me like a ghostly presence. How could I fully embrace this newfound freedom when the specter of betrayal still lingered in the shadows? Yet with each passing day, I found myself letting go of the burdens that had weighed me down for so long. The open road became my sanctuary, a canvas upon which I could paint the contours of my own destiny. In the quiet solitude of nature, I discovered a profound sense of belonging, a reminder that I was not defined by the actions of others. Isn't it amazing how little we need to be happy? My daughter's voice broke through the stillness of the evening, her words filled with awe as she looked around at our humble surroundings. I smiled, the warmth of her presence filling me with a sense of peace I had not felt in a long time. How could I not be grateful for moments like these, when the simplicity of life seemed to stretch out before us like an open road? It sure is, sweetheart, I replied, my voice tinged with gratitude. And as I watched the sun set in a blaze of color on the horizon, I knew that I had found something truly precious amidst the simplicity of our minimalist lifestyle. For in embracing the freedom of the open road, I had found a sense of peace and contentment that could not be measured in material possessions or societal expectations. Amidst the solitude of my tiny home, I embarked on a journey of self-discovery and healing. Supported by the unwavering love of my daughter and the guidance of therapy, I confronted the demons that had plagued me since the discovery of my wife's infidelity. Each day became a battle to unravel the tangled web of emotions that had held me captive for so long. Dad, are you okay? My daughter's voice was filled with concern as she watched me from across the room, her eyes reflecting the worry etched into her young face. I smiled, grateful for her presence in my life, as I struggled to find the words to articulate the pain that still lingered within me. How could I explain the depths of my despair when even I struggled to understand the turmoil raging within? I'm getting there, sweetheart, I replied, my voice tinged with gratitude for her unwavering support. But even as I grappled with my own demons, I found solace in the knowledge that I was not alone in my struggles. With each passing day, I grew stronger, fortified by the love and understanding of those who stood by my side. "Are you sure you're okay, Dad?" My daughter's voice was filled with concern as she reached out to touch my arm, her touch a balm against the wounds that still lingered within me. I nodded, the weight of her love buoying me up as I struggled to find the strength to move forward. How could I not be grateful for her unwavering support, even in the darkest of times? "I'm getting there, sweetheart," I replied, my voice filled with determination. And as I emerged from the shadows of my past, I embraced the promise of a future defined not by betrayal, but by resilience and renewal. With each step forward, I found a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness, a reminder that even in the depths of despair, there existed the possibility of redemption. And as I looked to the future with newfound optimism, I knew that I had finally found the healing I had been searching for all along. Thank you for listening to the story to the end, and if you like it, please support us with a like as well as subscribe to our channel. Write in the comments what you think about the story.